We're the K9 unit. Welcome to this edition of Inside APD.
Hi there, I'm Officer Gigi McDonnell with the Media Office. This week in APD News. Last month, we had the privilege and honor to visit the local YMCA to talk to their Special Friends group that meets several times a week. Officers Andrew Cornwell, John Milstead, Philip Couples, and Reuben Hilliard from our North Entertainment District Tourism Unit also joined us for this fun-filled event. It provided an opportunity for these special needs adults to interact with fellow police officers. We were able to hand out some goodies and let them sit inside a police car. What a positive, lasting impact we were able to make in this segment of our community. We want to give a shout out to the YMCA for letting us be a part of their Special Friends Day. Interim Police Chief Will Johnson was invited to Crouch Elementary to read to a third grade class. The outreach program is called Reading Rocks. The program appeals to kids and encourages them to experience the magic of reading. The kids really gravitated to Chief Johnson's humor and reading style. Thank you, Arlington ISD, for inviting APD to this event. We had the honor of recognizing the hard work and accomplishments of our employees for their contributions 2012. During this annual award process, we proudly recognize officers, supervisors, and key business and community partners. Employees are nominated by their peers within the department. It's a great way to celebrate the achievements made by these professional men and women. During this episode of Inside APD, we spent the day with our K9 unit. Let's head out to the field with Sergeant Bret Macdonald and the rest of the K9 unit.
Hi, I'm Sergeant Bret Macdonald with the Arlington Police K9 unit. I'm also a supervisor on a West Midnight shift. This episode, we're going to talk about K9 operations. With me today is Officer Wade Hardin. Wade, introduce yourself and talk about your dog Renz.
I've been with the department 19 years. I've been in the K9 unit approximately 17 years. The dog that I'm working now, police service dog Renz, is the third patrol dog that I've worked for the city, and he's been on the streets almost 2 years, probably right around 2 years.
Give us an idea on how we go about selecting dogs for our unit.
It usually entails making trips to various kennels around Texas or around the country, and we'll go through a process where we'll look at 10, 15, 20 dogs at a time, and we run those dogs through a series of tests to check their characteristics to see if they have the disposition and the character traits we're looking for to be able to do the job. And it covers everything from evaluating their athletic ability, their drives that encompass hunting, their social characteristics. Do they interact well with people? Do they interact well with other animals? So it's a pretty lengthy process. From start to finish, it takes us about 4 hours to evaluate one dog, and we'll look at 10, 15 dogs at a time and just keep narrowing it down till we find some candidates that we think will work for us here in the city. The next step would be to take the dogs and we bring them back to the city and we give them a full medical evaluation to make sure they pass our medical. And all of this would take place before we actually buy the dog or begin training the dog.
After we get a dog from the kennel, we'll bring the dog back to the vet. The vet gives us a thumbs up to work the dog. How does the whole training process go with the dog?
First thing we do, after the dog passes the medical, then we get to go ahead to start looking to train the dog. We do what we call environmental tests. We take the dog and we expose the dog to the working conditions that the dog would encounter in the city of Arlington. Dark buildings, heavily wooded areas, exposure around traffic, gunfire, loud noises, and it's a continuation of the selection process, and that usually can get done in one day. Once the dog passes all of that, then we begin the actual training process with the dog. And the first step is just handler bonding. We take the dog, we take the handler that's going to be working the dog, because the dog then moves into the home with the handler, and we do bonding exercises and activities that are real low stress for the handler, real low stress for the dog, and it's so that they can become familiar with each other and comfortable with each other. Once we get through that, you're looking at anywhere from 3 months to 4.5, 5 months, depending on weather and health with the animal to get a dog from start to finish before we ever actually put the dog out on the street.
Hope you enjoyed the show today as you got to see behind the scenes on how we choose our dogs. Join us next week as I interview handler Vince Ramsauer and discuss the personal side of living and taking care of the dogs outside of work. We will end this 3-part series with handler Bobby McGarza, which will focus on the day-to-day activities that our dogs perform while on duty.
It's a different kind of relationship. It's one that, unless you have done it, it's very difficult to explain to somebody. It becomes a part of your family and a part of your life, even though you know it's still a tool. And there are circumstances that are dangerous for both you and the dog.